which has been in the past decades very much dependent on international cooperation, because for dozens of years we were locked behind the Iron Curtain and we were not allowed to have any international cooperation whatsoever. If we see the next photo, I can ask you, what do you think is happening here? Any ideas? This was taken in the Czech Republic or Czechoslovakia then in the 50s. Any idea what this is? This is a queue to buy bananas. Because behind the Iron Curtain, things that we today think are absolutely common and we don't give a second thought about it, in that time, when you are locked behind the Iron Curtain inside your borders, getting bananas was a bigger event than waiting for a new iPhone coming up. Our parents actually literally camped outside of a fruit store for the night, hoping to get at least a few bananas or oranges for the children. So this happens when you don't have any international cooperation, and that carries within us the next generations who were born into freedom and not into this deficit. This man, there is now jump, leap. I'm not sure whether you have ever seen his picture, but this is Erasmus of Rotterdam. 15th century scholar who traveled all around Europe, mostly at universities, in order to study and teach, spread knowledge. And he's the person after which the biggest European program is named after, and that is the Erasmus+. Can we have a quick roll call here within the room? How many of you have heard about the Erasmus program? Can you please raise your hand? See a few, let's say 50% of the room. Cool. Erasmus is the biggest international education program in the world, as far as I know. It's based on providing opportunities to young people and students to travel, to broaden their horizons, to make new connections, new friends, learn in other countries, and grow as individuals, which also helps the society to grow as a whole. And that's the center which I'm going to be talking about today. Why I think it's good for you to know about the program, even though we are maybe not enabled to participate in it directly, is because, as I said, it's the biggest program of its kind in the world. And if you are based in Europe, you can join tomorrow. If you are not based in Europe, you can at least get an inspiration, because I'm going to be talking also about real projects that are taking place in Europe within the framework of the program. So you might get some inspiration, what you can do, what you can pursue next. And some of the opportunities are even worldwide. This is Erasmus in numbers. These are numbers for 2025 alone. So you can see that in total, there is a budget of approximately 5 billion euros, billion with a B. In US dollars, this is approximately $5.5 billion every year poured by the European Union into the internalization of educational systems within Europe and even beyond. So you can see the opportunities are really broad, and if there is something that is lacking in most of the countries in the youth sector, I think we can agree it's money and funding. Yeah. Youth sectors are usually very severely underfunded, and I'm not saying the Erasmus is a solution to everything, but it definitely helps. Please can we stay on that one? As you can see, it's divided into three main bubbles, or three main sectors. The first one is for formal education and training, meaning universities, schools, and adult education. How does it look like? It means that the university in Prague, for example, Czech Republic, gets a grant and sends their students to universities all over Europe. The students can choose which university they would like to attend. They apply, they go through application process, and if they are selected, they can go there for a semester or two and spend several months or even years in the country, attending the university with local students, learning the subjects, and also, while you are living there, you get many other competences because you, for some people, for the first time, they have to wash their own clothes because until then, it was their mom doing it. Now you're living on your own in another country, so you have to try on your own. And that's very, very beneficial. It goes for university students. That's the biggest portion of the budget, but it also applies to school students from kindergartens to high schools. Yes, there are projects where kids from kindergartens go abroad for a few weeks, so of course with their teachers or parents, to see how other countries look like. So we actually have 5-year-old kids traveling to study in a kindergarten in a neighboring country for just a little while. But in itself, the opportunity is very enriching for them. Of course, this applies for high schoolers as well, and also it goes for the teachers. If you are a teacher in school, it's very beneficial for you to learn and see, job shadow, how the teachers teach in other countries. You can get new inspiration, new methods, new partnerships, and you can then take these experiences and use them in your own practicing back in Germany. Just one more thing. The second, the brutal part, is the youth sector. And when I'm talking about youth, I mean non-formal education of young people, which means in order to join the youth education within Erasmus, you don't need to be a student. You don't need to have any certificates, any approvals. The only thing you need is to be of age between 13 and 30. That's it. If you fall within this age range, you are eligible to participate in the programs. And it's amazing, mainly because it offers opportunities also to the underprivileged kids. For those who don't have the certificates, who don't have the opportunities as their maybe unfortunate peers, they can attend the project as well. And the last one is sport, which is the smallest of them. It's a very new addition to the program. And this one goes for sport coaches and trainers who can travel abroad to other countries to learn how the grassroots sport is managed in those countries, so they can learn it and they can use it in their own action when they return. There are several priorities and pillars the program is based upon. I'm not going to go through all of that in detail, but we have inclusion. As I said, the programs are available to everyone and anyone. Sustainability, both in terms of long-term effect and in terms of being green, to not to destroy the planet we are all living on. Participation, we are very big on having the young people have a say in what's going on within the program. So it's not created by someone else for them, but it's created by the young for themselves. The cultural exchange is the core principle behind all of that, because we believe that if you meet your colleagues and friends and peers from other countries and exchange the cultures, it will enrich both of you, and you will be less likely to be swayed by radicalism. For example, if you ask the right-wing parties or the people voting for the right-wing parties whether they have ever met or talked with someone they are hating on, usually the answer is no. And if they have met some of these people from abroad, they are usually not leaning that much towards the right wing. That's why we think it's very important for people to meet, mingle, exchange ideas, and discover that we are basically all the same, only sometimes with different skin colors or religions, but we are all human beings. Digitalization, of course, because we are trying to keep up with the ages. Respect regardless of background, that goes for respect for LGBTQ plus communities, people of different religions, people of different skin color, education, or whichever background you can think of. The programs respect all of it and proudly promote the agendas that we are all different but the same. So it's very likely to be, many of the projects are focusing on support to the minorities, support to LGBTQ, or any other group that is marginalized by the general population. In Erasmus, these groups will find advocates and friends. Efficiency, that's the monetary aspect, of course, because if you want to spend 5 billion euros every year, you need to be mindful of how do you do it and not to overspend or have some financial leaks in the programs. And of course, we are trying to monitor impact and flexibility to make sure that the programs do have impact. We can go next. Yesterday during the opening, this is one of my favorite quotes about inclusion by Werner Myers. It said that diversity is being invited to a party, inclusion is being asked to dance. I would like to add that if you want to do inclusion right, you don't only invite people to the party, you actively go to the bad parts of the town and hand out the flyers and ask the people to come. And when they come, you play all sorts of music to accommodate every single visitor to the party and invite them to dance to the music they actually like. This is how inclusion should be done. Not only opening the doors, because that's frankly not enough. In order to be inclusive in the right way, in the most efficient way, you really have to offer all the people the opportunity and make them know that they are really truly welcome and you will accommodate their needs so they can fully participate. More about that tomorrow during the panel discussion on participation, and now we can move on. So now to the point. The Erasmus, how is it administered? It is administered by the European Commission from the Brussels in Belgium, and then because the program is very large, in each country there is a national agency. That's my background. That's where I come from. I come from the Czech National Agency for International Education and Research, which is an organization with the longest possible name. And we are responsible for managing the Erasmus program in the Czech Republic. We believe that international experience changed the world and the society for the better, and therefore we are trying to foster and develop educational programs that allow everyone to participate. We are trying to shut all the gatekeepers, we are trying to open as many doors as possible, and we are focusing on inviting young people from underprivileged backgrounds, from orphanages, children's homes, poor families, foster care, and others to join the programs. Because for some of the people, having international experience is a norm. It's something they do basically every year, sometimes even every month. But for some kids, even leaving the borders of their own county, let alone country, can be a huge and life-changing event. And that's what we strive to do. This is a budget just for the Czech Republic. I will not go to a deep detail, but just to give you an overview, the Czech budget within the Erasmus is approximately 100 million euros every year, which is then divided into the sectors that I've already talked about. So the red one, the biggest one, is universities, for university students to visit other universities in other European countries, study there for 1 or 2 semesters, and gather experiences there. Then we have the vocational education and training, school education, and my field is the non-formal education, sport, and European Solidarity Corps. And about these, I'm now going to talk a bit more in depth. So please, next slide. In total, just in the youth sector, just in the non-formal education for young people, 200,000 young people attend every single year. So you can see that the impact is quite huge. It's not a program for few chosen people. It really has a structural effect, and in total affects hundreds of thousands of young people. Indirectly, it affects millions and millions, because if you count their friends, their peers, their families, it really makes a structural impact. So, who is eligible to participate in the programs? The whole program is available to the EU 27 countries. Besides that, there are countries that are associated to the program, meaning they are having a status similar to the European 27. These are Macedonia, Serbia, Iceland, Liechtenstein, Norway, and Turkey. These countries have full access to everything. They have the national agencies, and organizations residing within those countries can apply for the granting. But, and this is probably important to some of you, there are 3 more groups of countries that are also eligible, a little bit more limited, but still eligible. And that's the Western Balkans, the neighborhood east, so Armenia, Georgia, Ukraine, and other countries east of the European Union. And then the countries of the South Mediterranean, Tunisia, Egypt, Morocco, Palestine, Israel. If you look at the map, basically all the neighboring countries within the Mediterranean Sea area. These organizations from these countries can access the programs. They can become program partners, and they can join forces with NGOs or other organizations in Europe to create partnerships and projects together, and this way they can actively take part and get some of the funding I've been talking about recently. And the eligibility is great because the program is open to everyone, all NGOs, associations, even companies and for-profit bodies that are working with the youth in a non-formal way, and even to informal groups of young people, which mean that 5 people, 5 friends, can say, hey, I want to do a project, I want to help the community, I have a good idea how to support the youth, let's do it. And if they submit the application, they can be funded even without the VAT number or any formal background, which is absolutely groundbreaking. I'm not sure how many of you have any experience with granting applications worldwide, but I have not yet seen a program of similar scale that would allow non-formal groups of young people to apply for grants without any formal background, governmental check, or being a public one. And what does the opportunity actually mean? The first ones are the youth exchanges. These are short-term projects, usually lasting from 1 to 3 weeks, for young people aged 13 to 30 to meet and discuss a certain topic. The topic can be anything that is relevant to the group. So we have seen projects that were revolving about sustainability, the importance of recycling and upcycling of waste. We have seen projects talking about mental health. We have seen projects based on employability and helping young people to enter the labor market. We have seen projects about any topic that is relevant for the youth group and that is relevant for the organization that is hosting the project. And all expenses are covered. This is the most important part of Erasmus, mainly for the participants, because all of their expenses, including travel, board, accommodation, are taken care of, and the hosting organization receives funding to cover these costs. Meaning that even if you are a broke young person from disadvantaged background, you don't need thousands of euros or even hundreds of euros to attend the projects, because all of your needs are covered. And also the organization receives funding to host the project, meaning even though they are non-profit, they still do receive money to pay their staff, to pay for any other expenses that are necessary to make the project happen. And to show you an example of a project, this is a project done by a small NGO in Czech Republic that was revolving around intergenerational fairness and bringing young people and older people together to show each other how beneficial the exchange between the age generations can be. So imagine a group of young people aged mostly 18 to 22 coming to a rural city in Czech Republic. City, it was more of a village. Imagine a 20-year-old guy from Paris arriving to a small village in rural Czech Republic. And the program also included visits to a local church, and monastery, where the young people learned to bake traditional cakes with local nuns. So picture that, young guy from Paris, from a huge city, for the first time traveling, finds himself in the middle of nowhere, Czech Republic, learning to bake a cake from a nun. I think this is an experience he will remember for quite a while. It also helps him to understand that the older generations maybe are not good with technology, but they do have knowledge to share and cakes to bake. And it helps the mutual understanding of the generations, even though they didn't share a language. Neither of them spoke English very well, but still they managed to make it happen and bake the cake, literally. Second opportunity that the Erasmus offers to the young people is the youth worker mobility, because it's not only for the young people themselves, but also for the youth workers. Meaning, if you are a youth worker in a youth center, in a scout, in any organization or association directly working with young people, and you don't have to be an employee, you can be a volunteer, you can be a part-time worker, it doesn't matter. If you do work with young people in an informal way, you can apply, you can be funded to travel abroad and see either how it's done in other organizations through job shadowing, or you can organize a training where you can invite experts on a certain topic to help educate you and improve your skills and knowledge to do your job better. Again, to show an example, this is a project of an organization called Consent, and as their name suggests, their work revolves around consent in youth work. So they wanted to do a project for youth workers from all around Europe to help them fight against domestic violence, sex-based violence, and sex-based biases in their youth work. So they did 7 days of trainings, they had experts coming, they shared their own experiences, they created online tools to spread to even larger crowd of youth workers to help them spot signs of domestic or sex-based violence, to help them facilitate their projects in order to avoid any mishaps and to spot any problems that might be arising. The third part is the youth participation activities. These are projects for young people that are supposed to help them become active citizens, either through giving them the skills necessary to be active citizens, or through providing them a platform to become one. To foster dialogue, to speak with policymakers, to meet with their peers, to improve their skills. We can again look at an example. Roma Vesnica, which is an association working with underprivileged Roma community in Czech Republic, did this project when they took local youth from the Roma community, and together with these underprivileged young people, they did several small events. They did a festival. They did the local county has a talent or looks for a superstar type of event. They cleaned local nature, like a nature site, and they always invited other people from the community and from the general population to show them that even though they are from a minority group, they are full members of the society, they want to be a part of it, and to show that even though they are maybe they are perceived by general population as maybe lazy or not productive members of society, it's definitely not true. The Erasmus helped them fund all of these activities in order to help them promote this idea, and also they met with local government in order to discuss with the mayor and the board what do the local Roma community need, what could the public authorities do better in order to help the society be more coherent and more prosperous. Then we have the Discover EU, which is a very interesting opportunity for all 18 and 18-year-olds who can apply for a free train ticket and travel Europe for 30 days, which is amazing because for some of them, again, it's the first time they will ever leave the country. But if you are underprivileged and poor, only receiving a train ticket is not enough, because in order to travel, you need a lot more expenses than that. For that case, there is the advanced extra support that is called the Inclusion Action, when organizations can ask for extra funding for accommodation, for food, for program, for whatever they need in order to make the travel happen. Because, let me be clear, if you attend a university for 6 months, it's a great experience. But for some kids, even traveling without any formal program for just a few days can be life-changing. So to show an example of a project, this is a project for kids from foster care and local orphanages, organized by an organization called Chance for Children. They took them to several European countries, and for majority of these kids, it was the first time they have ever left their county. They have never even been in the capital city of Czech Republic, and suddenly they found themselves in Berlin, in Copenhagen, and other countries. And they were themselves participating in preparing the program. They told the organizers where they would like to go, what they would like to do. They had to budget their own expenses for a while. And by this experience, they gained skills that they did not have previously. These money are the best spent within the whole budget, because it's very cheap. Projects cost a few thousands of euros, but the impact on the individuals can be really tangible, even within the short time frame of just a few days or weeks. And from the smallest, now let's go to the biggest opportunity, and these are partnerships for organizations. These projects are aimed not at individuals, but mainly at organizations and institutions, and they are devised to help them form partnerships and create something new, something big, some new methods, new approaches, new outputs that would help the young people or the youth work. And these can be funded to up to 400,000 euros, which is approximately $450,000 per project. That's a lot of money. These projects are available not only to the European countries, but the partners can come from anywhere in the world, from Australia to Cameroon to Peru. Anywhere in the world, organizations can join these projects, but the important part is that the applicant, the domain application organization, needs to be the one in Europe. There has to be a European organization taking part, and this organization applies for the funding on behalf of the whole group. So if you want, you can take part, you just need a European organization that will work with you on this one, and the impact of the project has to be presented in all of the countries. So it's not enough to ask a European country just to submit an application when the whole project happens someplace else. It needs to have tangible outputs in all of the participating organizations and countries. To show you an example, this can be, the output can be anything. For example, a theater play. This is a project that was done by the Czech National Theatre in cooperation with the Slovak National Theatre, where they had young people create a play about the division of Czech Republic and Slovakia, former Czechoslovakia, through the eyes of people that were not born at the time. So these young people from the two countries got together. They had a lot of help from the professional playwrights, and they created a play, which they then played in several theaters, in high schools, and other places, and they showcased the importance of dialogue, peace between countries, and resolution of conflicts that can be done in a peaceful way, because this separation of Czech Republic and Slovakia was one of the best case examples of a country splitting in history. So this is one of the outcomes of the project. but it can be anything else. We have seen projects that had the outcome of a board game that helped promote prevention of sexual violence. We had phone apps that helped young people navigate through different areas. Anything that the young people need and is not currently available can be done within this framework and within this financing. The second program, besides Erasmus, is called the European Solidarity Corps. It was formerly part of Erasmus, but then it became its own program. And this one offers two main opportunities. The first one is volunteering, which allows young people from all around Europe and the neighboring countries to become a volunteer for up to 12 months and spend this time in a country abroad working as a volunteer for an organization in any field they like. So we have volunteers working in schools, helping, for example, with language teaching or with organizing project days. We have volunteers in organizations that are trying to protect the climate. We have volunteers working with underprivileged kids. We have volunteers doing all sorts of work. Each can choose what they want to do, connect with the organization, and then make it happen. Again, the program covers all costs for both the volunteer and the organization, meaning that they have accommodation taken care of, travel plans taken care of, and they even receive some pocket money for them to spend. Because if you are a volunteer, you are not being paid, you are not remunerated, but you still need few euros a day for some snacks or whatever. So the volunteers receive even their own pocket money to allow them to actually fully focus on the volunteering. And the second option are the solidarity projects. These are the smallest ones of the whole bunch, and one of my favorites personally, because these projects allow groups of 5 young people to make a change in their community, whatever that means. They get funding for any project they want to do within their community or within the country to help solve a problem they see. The funding is approximately 10,000 euros per project, and it covers all expenses of the project and also coaching, because young people sometimes it's the first project they ever do, so they are new into the whole thing. So they can pay a coach, someone more experienced, who would guide them through all the processes, help them with the accounting, help them with setting up the project management, billing, whatever is necessary. They have the support they need to make the project happen. But they are learning, these kids are learning by doing the project, meaning it can be focused on any topic, absolutely anything they would like to. 2 examples. Because of the war that Russia wages upon Ukraine, there is many refugees from Ukraine in Czech Republic, and there was a group of young people that wanted to help them feel better within their communities. So they did a local projects. It's called Moms from Ukraine, when they provided platform for young refugee mothers to host workshops showcasing their arts and crafts, meaning young refugee mothers hosted a workshop. Once it was about crocheting, secondly it was about cooking pierogis, all kinds of workshops. They invited the local community, and it helped them to make the community work, because if you are a refugee, you feel quite alone in the community. Sometimes people look at you like you don't belong, but if you eat pierogi together, then the sense of belonging creates much easier. And the second option, the second example, to show you how diverse this can be, is a project called azylakids.cz, which is the Czech internet domain. This was a group of young IT guys who realized that there are no information online about shelters for the homeless in Czech Republic. So they decided, okay, let's make a website. And they did. So they did a website that gathers information about all shelters and asylum homes within the Czech Republic. They created a community of providers of these services so they can share and learn from one another. And if you become a person in need of an asylum home, you can very easily find all information in a single spot. This is diversity that the Solidarity projects can offer. You can fund anything from an app to workshop for moms from Ukraine. We are getting to the end, and slowly we will reach the Q&A. But this is a quote of our director, who said that we have the Erasmus thanks to the European Union, and soon we will have the European Union thanks to Erasmus. And I could not agree more. Because the European Union, as well as the United States, as well as any democratic society, is under attack in the past years. And I strongly believe that the more coherent we are, the more we talk with each other, the more we celebrate our differences instead of fighting them, the bigger chance we have to survive and to promote liberal democracy and the ideals and carry on with them into the future. Because without this, the societies might collapse, and we are trying to do our best to prevent it. So we have Erasmus thanks to the EU, and soon we'll have the EU because of Erasmus, because those who went through the programs do realize how important the international collaboration is, how important the values are, and they will champion those values and help the EU survive. And now for some data to show you that what I've been talking about really has the impact I mentioned. We do very thorough surveys. We have a special initiative called RAY, Research and Analysis in Youth, that measures the impact of the projects. And here you can see just one of many statistics when they asked 5,000 young people whether they developed their abilities during the projects. And for example, the ability to get along with people who have different cultural background, 92% of the respondents said they do agree. They actually developed this ability within just a time frame of a few days or weeks. You don't need to spend a year abroad to learn how to get along with others. Even the short-term projects are more than enough to do that. 80% helped or developed their ability to reflect and the ability of critical thinking, which, as we have heard in the previous session on the AI, critical thinking is increasingly important because there is so many data, so many things, so many inputs every day, and some of them are just not right. And you need to look at them with a critical eye to assess if it's the right or wrong thing. And also we have the competences for lifelong learning that were defined in 2018, I think, by the European Commission. So we tried to look whether the Erasmus project supports also these competences, and we can gladly say it does. So, for example, the literacy competence, almost 60% of the participants claim they did improve their competences in literacy. 30% improved their digital skills. Multilingual competences were one of the highest rated, with almost more than 60% confirming that even a few days on a project within Erasmus Youth did help them get better and improve. And lastly, before we get to the questions and answers, a few resources that you can use. First, there is a database called OTLAS, which can help you register your organization and or find project partners. Because we understand that this is one of the hardest parts. It's great to speak about the importance of cooperation, but how do you start it? How do you kick it off? Well, it can be a conference such as the International Youth Conference, because you can find a lot of partners just by looking around. But this online tool might be easier even outside the scope of this conference. So there's the website, you can of course Google it. And there you can register your organization and find other organizations with similar profile to yours. You can reach out to them, they can reach out to you, and you can try to think of a collaboration that you could do together. Let it be within the Erasmus framework or outside of it, that doesn't matter. So currently there is more than 17,000 organizations registered. You can become another one. Just small reminder, if you are trying to kickstart the cooperation, I recommend to do a background check on the organization, because anyone and everyone can register, meaning some of the organizations there maybe are not on par with your expectations. So I would recommend to do a background check, but to find at least contacts for organizations, this database can really help. The second resource you can use is the Quality Mobility App, short QApp. It's an application that helps you devise a project. Mainly, it revolves around the Erasmus mobility projects, but even if you do not engage in Erasmus, I believe this can be helpful, because through questions, it helps you formulate your project idea, the project route, how to get to the goals you set, and it helps you to be mindful of certain aspects that you might forget otherwise. So if you are a project manager, youth project leader, and you are thinking about starting something new, or you are stuck with your current project, I recommend give this a go. Within a few minutes, you can see whether it can be helpful, and I truly believe it can be helpful even outside of the Erasmus scope. And the last but not least is the website of the European Commission, where you can find all of the Erasmus and other opportunities. What I've been talking about within these past 45 minutes, that's just a snack, just a preview, because the whole program contains dozens and dozens of opportunities in different fields, and this is the way, or this is the place where you can find all of them in one place. So I would like to encourage you, if you are interested in the opportunities I've talked about, or about any other opportunities within the European framework regarding mobilities, learning, youth, students, give it a go. It's possible that you will find an opportunity that fits your needs, and maybe something great can come up. That is all from me for now. Thank you for your attention. And if you have any questions, I'm more than happy to answer them, either now or during the break, or feel free to give me an email after the conference. Thank you. So if you have any questions, feel free. Yes, please.
Thank you so much for the presentation. I'm Meata from Liberia. So my question is, where does West Africa comes to play in everything you have said?
Yes. Unfortunately, the opportunities for West Africa are limited. Your organization can take part in the cooperation projects I've mentioned, those big ones. If you want to, you need to justify why Liberia or any other country which the Erasmus program is not mainly focused on, what's the added value? Why Liberia and not Estonia, which the program is focusing on? So you have to justify it very well. It is possible to include Liberia, but as I said, the main applicant organization must be residing within the European countries. You can only be a part organization within the project.
Thank you.
Yes, please.
Thank you so much, Simon. My name is Sharon Bright. I was in the UK, didn't come in here. I actually just have a follow-up question from what she asked. So I belong to a youth organization called Global Youth Leaders Forum, and we're incredible young people doing amazing work around the world, humanitarian ministry, innovation, arts and things. Because we do have the GYLF in Europe, Europe Board Region 1 or 2. So you're saying, because I just want to understand correctly, so for example, if I want to apply for funding, I can't do it from here, but I can tell my organization, which is registered in Europe, in the UK, to apply on behalf of the entire organization. That's correct?
That's basically correct. Unfortunately, the UK, since Brexit is not part of the program.
That's true, I'm sorry. Oh, but there's, because, and like I said, the UK is just one, because it's part of Europe. We have Germany as well. We've got the GUI, it's also in Germany, it's in Berlin. And, okay.
It's not.
I forgot about Brexit, thank you.
Yeah, I also forget about it, and then I remember and I'm like, oh no. Yeah, everybody would like to forget about it. But I think the UK will come back in a few years. But to answer your question, the organization, if it's based in Europe, Germany, for example, or other countries that are the program members, they can apply for the funding on behalf of the whole consortium.
Okay.
But the important thing is that the main part of the project needs to happen in Europe. So it's not like the German organization will just apply for funding for a project that will happen in elsewhere.
Okay.
It needs to be taking place in Europe and and elsewhere as well. That's fine, that's good. But the main gravitas needs to remain in Europe.
Okay, thank you. We have another question.
Hi, thank you so much for your presentation. I'm Evelyn Subert, and I'm the founder of the International Youth Media Summit. And every year we meet, and we have people from all over the world come together, so it seems to fit what you're trying to do for young European people. We're having a summit in Croatia this year. Is it possible to get scholarships for room and board and travel for European students to come to our event?
Sounds like yes.
We've been meeting in Europe for so many years. Why don't they know about you?
That's a good question.
Now, and you also said that our organization could partner with you, even though our headquarters are in the US, but if we have European participants, but we'd have to have a new project if we want you to fund the project. Is that correct?
Yes, you need to have a project and you need to apply through an organization within the European Union. So if you have only the registration in the US and you are organizing it in Croatia, that might be a problem. But if you have a branch in Croatia or regional representation, let's say, these regional representations from Europe can form a consortia and apply for a project that would help them finance their own travel and board within the Europe.
Because we have Croatia and Sweden that are centers there that work with us.
Yes, these two are definitely eligible. Yeah, we can talk during the break about this.
Have to talk.
Okay, another question?
Hi, sorry, just in general, what are some future visions for Erasmus, and are there any youth-initiated organizations or initiatives that are present in this whole framework?
Yeah, that's a great question. We are trying to be participatory also when creating the program itself. So there is a public consultation going on that's open to the wide public. There are several student and youth initiatives all around Europe that are giving feedback to proposals and plans on how the Erasmus should continue in the next programming period that will start in 2028 to 2035. So there are youth voices that are being heard in how the program should look like. I think there could be even more, but there are young people that are being heard. The national agencies are quite often having some bilateral, multilateral talks with young people or councils or local youth councils, asking them what they should then promote on the European stage. So the young people are shaping the future program. Okay,
Thank you. You spoke about like youths traveling, and just doing some internship programs and that. She, for example, mentioned about West Africa. So, can African youths apply to this internship in Europe?
only those that are from the Mediterranean area that I described on like the 5th or 7th slide. So the program is mainly focused on Europe, on the 27 countries, and the neighboring countries to the east and to the south, meaning young people from North Africa, from Morocco, Tunisia, Egypt, even Palestine, Israel, and this region, they can apply, or the organizations from those countries can apply for all of the funding if they have a European partner that was submitting the application.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I think we have time for one last question, if there is any. If not, thank you very much for your attention. Enjoy the rest of the youth conference.
Thank you so much, Mr. Presser, for an incredibly informative workshop. Let's give it up one more time for Mr. So, I mean, now we all hear about this amazing opportunity to receive grants. So if you're in Europe, I'm sure that connecting with Mr. Presser would be a great opportunity. We now will have a short break. Our next panel will be happening at 4:15. So you will have, we just double check this. That does feel like a long time. Yes, we have until 4:15, so 35 minutes, just a brief break and walk around, network, and we'll meet back here at 4:15. Thank you.